Hello everybody, it's Helen and this is my fourth and last video. Thank you all for following the shift in such a magnificent way. There's been such amazing ladies and telling us amazing stories. I'm really excited today because I'm actually in Paris and I wanted to show you a picture of me at Notre Dame, which I'm going to put into the video here, because today we're talking about the shift beyond you. How do you build a legacy that will follow you afterwards? And so I wanted to show you some pictures of Notre Dame because Notre Dame a few years ago had the most terrible and tragic fire, and the spine and the whole of the roof was destroyed. And the French people decided that they were going to bring it back in 5 years. They haven't quite finished because they wanted to be ready for the Olympics this last summer. But the cathedral is more or less rebuilt, and they brought in most amazing people to work all the different how can I say, cores of stone masonry, woodwork. They found oak trees. They built everything as a replica. They didn't do any modern construction. They wanted to come back to build the cathedral like it used to be. So, and as you come around the corner, and this is what's amazing, is that there's the most fantastic building called Notre Dame, which we've all heard of. But you can be in a tiny little road and then you just come around the corner and you see part of the gargoyles and the reconstruction. You see, a legend, a cathedral that's been here for millions of years, caught fire, and now they're rebuilding it from the ashes and doing a fantastic job. So I'm here in Paris to come and see what's going on. Legacy comes from when you build with the heart and with love, and it can stay. And the massive building work that they're doing to restore it is to restore its great heritage and also to continue its legacy over the years. How many hundreds of years? Can you build a business that can have a legacy for the future? So they didn't abandon it. They were rebuilding. They are rebuilding it, and they're not rebuilding it for themselves, because a cathedral is something that's lasted years and hundreds of years. This moment here, this construction, is a legacy in its own action, because it's for the generations in the future that will be coming to see this, and decades and centuries from now, they will still come and visit. So I lived in Paris 35 years ago, and I've come to celebrate the 30 years wedding anniversary of a friend with my son. It's actually his godfather. And so I thought I'd go on a sort of like memory lane day yesterday. So I went to all the places where I lived and I walked around, had a great time, ate oysters, I had a glass of wine, and I just thought about this video because I knew this talk was about leaving legacy in Paris. They have worked so hard to maintain the legacy and the beauty of its town. And that's what we're talking about today. So as we're going through this shift, I want you to understand that you've been redesigning yourself, and that's possible for you. You've rewritten your story. You've written the story that you're telling yourself, and we've aligned our action. So let's think of the the 3 videos that I've done now. This final shift is the most powerful one of all. How will you build something that will continue beyond you? How will your transformation create something that ripples and touches the lives of other people and not just you? So remember, my first video was about owning your story. Your shift, realizing that your experience, good or bad, is your power. You've embraced your past. Instead of hiding from it, you're going to show it out to the world. Shift number 2 was rewriting your narrative, because we need to rewire a little bit our brains. And we saw that our thoughts can shape our reality. And we've stepped into a new way of thinking, free from the old limitations, and knowing that we can do what our brain wants us to do. We have to train our brain to take it through where we want to go. My third video was about aligning actions. So we took the first step forwards to make that transformation, because if we want to transform, we need to take action. And I really think, Nike's we do it, you do it, just do it is a very, very powerful slogan. So now the final steps is slightly different. I'm wondering, is it about just you? Is it about what you can leave behind? And as a mother of 3 children, and many of you are mothers, you say to yourself, what am I actually leaving behind for my children? What am I going to do for them? So the shift beyond you is trying to create a true legacy, expanding yourself. Because there comes a moment when we realize that true transformation isn't just about personal success. It's about what is your contribution in this life. It's about leaving the world different because you were here. You want, tell your children, or their children will tell their children, say, well, Helen was, they did this. And so studies show that people with a strong sense of legacy, they live with a lot more fulfillment and purpose than just trying to make themselves happy, richer, because we're wired for connection and we're wired for impact. Let me say that again. We are wired for connection and we are wired for impact. And if we just spend our whole lives on ourselves, it could feel a little bit empty. But when we leave an impact and creating impact, it feels that it's infinite, that it's going further. And there's 2 types of legacy. Did you know that? There's the external legacy, the business, the communities, the projects that we build for other people. And then there's the internal legacy, the value, the wisdom, and the energy that we pass on. I've got my phone that's just made a message. So if I think of the example of Notre Dame, just that I showed you right now, the architects and builders who first constructed Notre Dame many hundreds of years ago, I don't want to make a mistake, I'm not very good in history, but many hundreds of years ago, their work still stands today. We can say tribute to the guys that sculptured the gargoyles, to the wood makers that made the rose, the glass makers that made the beautiful rosace. All that work still stands today. And today, their vision is still being continued. If we think of the cathedral in Barcelona by Gaudí, most incredible building, it's taken over 100 years to build. They're still building it. And it's his energy, his idea that's come through. So how does... I want to think for a moment. Sorry, I'm trying to get my ideas back. What will outlive you? What have you created and shared and inspired that will continue beyond your lifetime? Let's take an exercise. And I always like to do these exercises. I want you to define, in 7 minutes, I want you to define something. Let's get real. Imagine in 50 years' time, somebody's telling a story about you. Yeah, your great-grandmother, your great-grandfather. What would they say? Oh, she was a mean old bag. Or she was somebody who was always thinking of herself. Or would they say, yeah, they left an impact. They brought your family together, your community together. I think of Tony Robbins, what he's building. It's not just about himself, but it's what he's giving to others, how he's feeding the world. And think about the psychology. It reduces our anxiety and increases our life satisfaction. If we stop chasing just temporary success and we think of generational success. So it's your turn. I want you to write down, what is the impact that you want to have on this world? If your life was a book, what would be the title? What values or lessons do you want to be remembered for? So I want you to write it down. Who will you teach? The ripple effect. The ripple effect of leadership. Every great leader was once a student. Every successful person had a mentor. And now it's your turn to be their guide. You're going to lead them on their journey. Teaching amplifies your impact exponentially. This is known as the protege effect. When you protect somebody, you protect your children, you try to help them learn. They need to learn, but you want to guide them. You can't be a perfect mentor, but you just need to be one step ahead of other people who could benefit from your experiences. Who do you naturally advise or mentor? What is one message that you would like to pass on to the next generation? I absolutely love teaching the youth. So I've created the Yes Academy, the Youth Entrepreneurship Skills Academy, because the Yes Academy is to help the youth to be able to build their own selves. I didn't fit into the mold of going to school. I did my bachelor because that's what we did, but I felt so uncomfortable because it wasn't me. I wanted to break the rules. I mean, a lot of teachers would say, Helen, get out of the classroom. I spent a lot of time outside of the classroom. But those moments were also ways for myself to build myself. And so I love to be able to tell them, hey, you need to stand tall. You need to shake hands and you need to look at people straight in the eye when you say hello. Don't be embarrassed of who you are. No matter who you are, you deserve a place in this society. And I love to be able to transmit. And I have students that write to me and send me messages and they say, you know, you were one of the best teachers. I learned so much from you. And there I say to myself, Helen, perhaps you've done some good in this world. Perhaps you've transmitted that energy that you have, the passion that you have, so that those young ones can affront the life that they're going to have, because it's not an easy life. There's a lot of things going on. I don't want to say wars and fights, but life is difficult at the moment. But if I've given them their inner strength to be proud of who they are, I feel that I've done something. So it's your turn. How could you advise somebody differently? How can you mentor them or help them? And then how will you sustain your impact? This is the last question you could ask yourself. There's so many transformational leaders that build impact, but they're not thinking of sustainability. Is your legacy supported to help this planet? If your legacy is not supported, it's going to fade. Many people feel guilt around making their mission financially strong. Making loads of money, but it's not money just to be in the bank. It's wealth that allows you to give more to others. Legacy is about wisdom. It's about creating structures that will outlast you. Could your story become a book, a course, a foundation, a mentorship program? How does financial independence tie into your ability to serve at the highest level? What systems do you need to put in place to ensure that your impact will last? At the beginning of this journey, it was about you, your story, your growth, your shift. But now it's about what you're going to create beyond you. Let's think of, in business, think of Steve Jobs. He's no longer there, but Apple's still there. Think about what people have given us, stories have given us. Think of Oprah Winfrey, the people that she's impacted. Lisa Nichols, whose story has inspired many. These are the stories that people have brought and have taught us things. And then perhaps their legacy is going to live on after them.
Legends are built with ideas, and then the ideas, they stay. You see, this pile of metal by Gustav Eiffel was created just for one exhibition, and they kept it because it's a legend. What legends are you building? You only build when you want to go further. So I'm looking forward to seeing what legends you're going to build in today.
So I wanted just to finish with this video with the last scene that I showed you of Paris, because I just wanted to show you how magical leaving a legacy can be. And I want you to transform these ideas of seeing Paris into transforming them into your legacy, and how you are going to make this world better because of your presence. Thank you ever so much, and I wish you a wonderful time. Reach out to me if you want to chat, if you want to share your story. Please go and see my YouTube channel. So you're here on The Shift, but I have one called Helen Gailey, and the link's below. Do the worksheet, Work it out, and if you want to share with me, I would love to be able to speak and see how you are going to build your legacy. I look forward to it. Bye-bye.